things to fade in.
Ja,
right?
precies.
With the music.
Yeah, exactly. Always to fade in.
So we have a little bit of chat and
Exactly.
and we
And
get
I start.
started. Yeah.
And I shall say welcome to part 5.
Yes, 5 already.
It's already a handful.
True.
Handful.
Something to
High
celebrate.
5 to that.
Something to celebrate.
You should never forget that name.
Absolutely. And so I was thinking, because the last few times we were speaking about our connection, the transition, and especially focused on the burnout.
Exactly, right.
And we were talking about, what are the symptoms, how can you get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what is always in my head as well is about the duration. How long does it take to get out? And well, we already chatted about it, and I fully agree with you that for everybody it's different, right? Because everybody is different. And at the same time, so I'll tell a little bit about my experience, and I'm curious about yours. Because when I was working with people in my team who were facing a burnout, there was at least always not the pressure, not the push, but the conversations were about how can you get back to work. I really thought that was a good thing to do, right? What can you do at this moment? Can you start reintegrating, maybe an hour, maybe a couple of hours a week, and then slowly build up from there? And now that I have the experience myself, so I really called in sick last year, January. Then I was really, really sick, spoken with the Arbo doctor, by the way, who gave me really fantastic support. And then, there was a time where Merck and myself agreed that I will stop working there. But only then I could start recovering from my burnout. And so that was, let's say, beginning of April. So I was already at home. I didn't go back to work. But still, and I did things that gave me, let's say, positive vibes, but still also the closure, the finishing of my collaboration with Merck, our collaboration, that took a lot of my energy. So only after April I could start recovering. And I really see that as a grieving period in my case. So because I stopped working there. However, in a lot of cases, people are also going back to what they did before.
Right.
But then I started to regain my energy. And in September, I said, so a couple of months later, I said, oh, I'm back, right? I said, okay, now. And actually, now I can say I had back my energy, but only from the time that I could remember it, right? Then I continued with building my own business and doing the things that I really like doing and finding my way. Sometimes still difficult, and there was a lot of anxiety, but still a lot of positive energy. And beginning of this year, so exactly a year later, I can say, without working, right, I can say I'm really, really back to where I was. So a year without any push from anybody on you have to do something. And that really makes me think about, do we go too quick? Do we want to go too quick, like we do a lot in our society nowadays? We want to go too quick out of this situation. So how do you see it?
Same. Now that you say that, what rings with me is really that we move too quick in all of life, and specifically in these periods where we need rest the most, which is a burnout or a stagnation in your life, where you can't continue the way you have. It's a breaking point.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
If I call it like this.
Yeah.
And then comes that factor, and you just mentioned it. It's grieving. It's grieving about what is not working. It's grieving what you thought you could continue for the rest of your life. Now it's entirely broken, you feel. And then all those beliefs comes up, all those, the emotions, the thoughts, letting people down, in my case, letting the other down, that was more a problem than, and then, you know, you come to that point, and letting myself down, oh my God, this is fun, and builds up.
Yeah.
And really, so all of this together, now that you say a year, I would say a year is really a good time for that. Yeah. In my case, we've just chatted about it, as you said, it's only a couple of months, and I do it. And you're right, as we say, the Alex again, you know, like we had it in the last video, step by step I had to learn, and still I go too fast for most of the times. It's so engraved in the habits that we have. Yeah. It's unbelievable. So absolutely agree to that. And it takes that time. Now, I would say in my case, perhaps, and I'll try this now with the next couple of months, already starting in a new job and finding something else, whether or not it will work out. Yeah. I think I need to be open for this and then see if it works. It's quite fast, really. So the key essence there is as well trust what we teach ourselves as well, each other, I should say. It's feeling and tuning in. And I think that is really needed. And with all the steps that you took, you had this possibility to tune in and really rearrange, because with burnout, what needs to be happening is not only the external environment that needs to be checked and thought out, let's say. You really have to work with yourself inward in such a situation. And that's where the time is needed, really. Yeah. I think the most, and that's where the time has to be taken. So because I'm curious about one thing, or actually wanted to emphasize on a thing that you also mentioned, is the change that needs to happen, right? Because like we both say, we both left the company where we were working. I built my own company. That's also work to do, right? You step into a new organization. And the question is, I think as well, so not only for you and me, but also when you go back to your to your current company where you are working, or even to the role where you are working, is there enough change? Do you realize that there is a change needed? Because I think that's also a big risk. If it goes too fast, then you easily fall back in, let's say, old habits. That's what I'm hearing from what you are saying. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a risk. And that's really the risk that one needs to watch out. So in terms of, when we speak about time, you don't have an answer how long something takes. It's different for everyone, correct? Yeah. But the one check that you can do yourselves is really on this check, and have those people we mentioned in the last video, have your tribe around, have the people around to support you and bring you out. Check also in with those people and be open and honest to yourself. Have I changed enough? But we are still operating within the same box. Exactly. Instead of looking at the whole picture and see what's wrong here in this entire picture. And that discussion is never had. It's come back as quickly as possible. We speak about the hours that need to be done, the task perhaps sometimes it's another task, perhaps it's slightly different jobs, but still it's somewhat operating within that same box. Whereas, and looking at our story, it's really changing. You have to look at your life, right? And that's what we learned as well. And that takes time. Yeah. And you mentioned so nicely the grieving period that comes in emotionally to do this all and get through that and release. The release, that takes time as well. And we mentioned it also in the last video, there's purification that then comes, so that you come out of that process afterwards more aligned with yourself. That needs time. Exactly. Yeah. So, very nice how you say that. So I think what we can conclude for today is that it's for everybody different, because everybody is different. The burnout tells you that something needs to change. Old behaviors or current behaviors need to change. So give yourself enough time to do that, and really take time to check in with other people, to get your support. Absolutely. And personally, I strongly believe that today in our society we don't take enough time. So I think that's a topic that we need to be very conscious about, I want to bring that in the world and definitely to organizations. Yes. Because I understand there is the cost
topic behind, right? That's always. So I think it's not an easy topic, but something that we really need to touch and become better at.
Absolutely. And the one change there, now that you say this, I think it's really this mindset of, yes, it's about cost and we have the time and we want to squeeze in as much as possible.
Absolutely.
I'm a perfect example in that, squeeze in as much as possible still, or we can make it. Just in that situation that we don't realize that by doing so, we squeeze in and we take from other options, from the rest of your lives, from the rest of the operations, from the rest of the team members that need to work, because if you fall sick again, there's more costs associated to it. So instead of just keeping on doing and trying to save time and cost as much as possible, do it the counterintuitive thing, stop and look at the whole picture.
Absolutely.
And then find solutions that work in the long run.
Absolutely.
That's, I think, really,
very good point.
That's really, it's what I learned from our discussions. Yeah.
Very good point. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And as we said, there is a need for change, and I think that's what we will discuss next time as well. Because a burnout, it has a function. It is for a reason.
It's a function.
So we'll definitely take that next time.
We'll do so.
Thank you very much.
Thanks as well. Bye guys.
Bye bye.